This paper examines the differences between federalism and unitarism through a comparative analysis of Malaysia and the United Kingdom. Although both countries share a historical background under British colonial rule, they adopted different systems of government. After independence, Malaysia is constitutionally a federal state where power is divided between the federal and state government. But in practice, strong central dominance limits the state autonomy. In contrast, the United Kingdom remained constitutionally unitary, yet the introduction of devolution are the methodology and key finding of this study. So, the study employs a qualitative comparative methodology based on constitutional analysis, legal documents, and secondary academic sources. It examines how constitutional provisions and governance practices shape the distribution of power in both countries. The findings highlight a clear gap between constitutional design and actual political practice, showing that federal and unitary systems may function differently in reality than they do in theory. What are federalism and unitarism in general? So it is a system of government shapes how political power is organized and exercised within a state. Federalism and unitarism differ mainly in how authority is distributed between central and regional governments. In a federal system, power is constitutionally divided between the central government and the states, allowing states a degree of self-governance. While in a unitary system, power is concentrated at the center and local authority operate under central control. Although Malaysia is constitutionally a federal state, its political practice shows a high level of centralization. In contrast, the United Kingdom remains constitutionally unitary but has developed a system of devolution that grants significant powers to regional governments. This comparison highlights the importance of distinguishing between constitutional structure and actual governance when evaluating system of government.
Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Malaysia and my matrix number is 312040. Today I am going to explain about one of the most significant issues in constitutional studies, which is the choice between federalism and unitarism. At its heart, this debate is about how a country organizes its power. Does it give autonomy to local regions or does it keep everything at the counter? We will look at these theoretical differences and then see how they play out in the real-world examples of Malaysia and the UK. Now, let's look at Malaysia. On paper, it is a federal state with constitution that spreads power. However, many scholars argue it is unitary in nature. Why? Because the federal government holds massive authority over money and emergency service, which limits state independence. We see this especially in East Malaysia, where the devolution of power in Sarawak is a constant political bargain process rather than the United Kingdom is the opposite case. Historically, it is a unitary state where parliament holds ultimate power. But since the late 90s, the United Kingdom has undergone a massive change through devolution, creating regional legislatures for Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Some call this a quasi-federal system. However, there is a catch because it is not a true federation. The United Kingdom Parliament can, at least in theory, reject or take back its powers. In conclusion, there is a fascinating gap in our knowledge. Most researchers will use a form practice lens to show that even if the countries have different constitutional foundation, they might actually function very similarly in practice. Malaysia may look federal but act unitary, while the United Kingdom looks unitary but acts increasingly.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Amalina binti Saleh. My metric number is 312807. So for this part, I will explain about the analysis of federalism versus unitarism. So, federalism and unitarism are systems that explains how power is organized in a country. Federalism shares power between the central and state governments, while unitarism concentrates power at the central level. Malaysia and the United Kingdoms are chosen because they use different systems, which makes them suitable for comparisons. Malaysia practices federalism as state in the federal constitution. Powers are divided into federal, state, and concurrent lists. The federal government handles defense, foreign affairs, and finance, while state governments manage land, local government, and religion. Next, Malaysia, also known as a multi-ethnic and geographically diverse country. Federalism allows states to handle local issues more effectively. This system helps reduce political tension and maintain national unity through power sharing. For example, Sabah and Sarawak were given special rights under the Malaysia Agreement 1963. These states have more autonomy, especially in immigration and natural resources. This shows asymmetrical federalism, where certain states are given more power to suit regional difference. So, even though Malaysia is a federal country, power is decentralized. The federal government controls most revenue sources, causing states to depend on federal funding. This limits real state autonomy in practice. Meanwhile, for the United Kingdom, usually the UK follows a unitary system where power is concentrated in Parliament. It is based on parliamentary sovereignty, meaning Parliament has the highest authority. Unlike Malaysia, the UK does not have a written constitution. United Kingdom has introduced devolution to Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. These regions manage areas like education and healthcare. However, their powers are delegated and can be changed by the central government. As you can see, Malaysia's federal system provides constitutional protection for state powers, while the UK system offers flexibility but weaker legal certainty. This shows the difference between federalism and devolution.
In this analysis section, we examine how federalism operates practice in Malaysia. Malaysia is constitutionally a federal state where power is divided between federal and state governments. However, in reality, governance is highly centralized, especially in terms of financial control. As a result, state autonomy exists legally but is limited in practice. To further analyze this, we can compare Malaysia with the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom operates as a unitary state based on parliamentary sovereignty. Through devolution, certain powers are granted to Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. However, these powers are not constitutionally protected, meaning the central government retains ultimate authority. So, based on both cases, a comparative analysis can be made. Malaysia is federal in law but centralized in practice, while the United Kingdom is unitary in law but decentralized through devolution. This analysis shows that governance outcomes depend more on political practice than on constitutional levels.
So, for the conclusion that we can see, federalism in Malaysia and unitarism in United Kingdom have a different system of government that share power, manage political and regional diversity. Although both countries aim to achieve national unity, political stability, and good governance, and they use different constitutional structure to reach this goal. For the country Malaysia, they practice a federal system where power is shared between the federal government and state government. This system is important for managing Malaysia's ethnic, religious, and regional diversity. States have authority over certain matters such as land and religion, while the federal government controls national issues like defense and foreign affairs. However, Malaysia's federal system is highly centralized, especially in terms of finance and administration. This limits the autonomy of state government and affect the balance of power within the federal system. On the other hand, the United Kingdom is a unitary state where Parliament holds legal sovereignty. Since the late 1919, the UK has introduced devolution, which is the UK giving power to Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. This allows regional government to respond better to local needs. However, these powers are not constitutionally granted and can be changed by Parliament, which sometimes they create political tension, especially regarding regional autonomy and independence. Overall, we can see that federalism and unitarism are not fixed systems, but exist on a continuum. Their effectiveness depends not only on constitutional design, but also on political practice and the willingness of government to respect the balance of power.